Hello, and welcome to my Mythic Plus guide for Pugs for Shrine of the Storm Season 4. I'm going to demonstrate the route that I chose, the pulls, and explain the boss mechanics, and go through it pull by pull with you. At the start of any dungeon this season, it's always a good idea to plan ahead what your route is going to be using Method Dungeon Tools, which is an add-on you can get from the Twitch app. This allows you to pick the pulls, see the percentages, and plan where you want to take everything. My particular route will include skipping many of what I would consider pug-killing pulls later in the dungeon and fill up my enemy forces with earlier pulls around the stairs and the first mini-boss. Keep your interrupts ready for any Tide Sage Spiritualist healers trying to cast Mending. If even one gets off, it's like doing a fresh new pull again. It is important to pay attention to how many Spiritualists are in your pull and what your team comp looks like. I recommend no more than 2 any given pull, and be ready to interrupt with all your tools for the heal. Use your CCs, pushes, stuns, fears, interrupts, all of it. Do not rely on your pugs to do it for you to make this a smoother run. Pull 1. We are clearing the lobby and the stairs, plus the stair paths. Meanwhile, I'm monitoring the healer abilities and how fast the DPS are pushing down the adds. Depending on their speed, I will step it up and start grabbing the rest from either side of the stairs while I monitor any Spiritualist casts that might go off and dispel the Shrine Templar ad buffs when I can and face them away so I can minimize anyone being hit by the cone attack heavy blow. For my second pull, after grabbing the 2 adds with the living current, I take them up to the first mini-boss and begin kiting him to the next pull right before the boss. Keep in mind, once exiting, that pull has 2 spiritual healers that need you to interrupt. As a tank, don't waste any CC abilities until you see those moments to ensure the pack does not heal back up. I also try to find the time to mark one of them, and type which one I plan to interrupt and hope one of the pugs interrupts the other. Depending on the positioning and awareness of the pug, I decide whether I want to run past the roleplay that will start from the boss and grab the 2 casters or pull them back up the stairs. For this instance, I decide to pull them back as I was concerned they would not follow me closely enough on the other side and might body pull from the stairs while we're dealing with the trash. It's way too common on many keys where people are standing too close up or down the stairs, so as a tank to stop this problem, I decide to pull way back to minimize it doesn't happen. With this boss, request a lust or drums on the pull and burn him hard. A few housekeeping tips. When you are CC'd by his tentacle ability, you can use fears, stuns, and other forms of CC to get yourself out. Don't sit and complain no one is saving you. Also, Surging Rush. Some people are awful at situational awareness and spacing. Tell them they can use the stairs, up or down on either side of the boss arena. It will keep you out of harm's way, and it won't reset the boss. Plus, you've already cleared the adds on either side so they cannot body pull. When he splits, you need at least one person standing in melee range of the 3 mobs. They also Surging Rush, so if you cannot find a safe spot, again, use the stairs. Pull number 3. I want some more enemy forces before our next major skip with the mini-boss. Once cleared, we go in and skip all the way to the other side of the bridge. I then proceed to pull 4. Pull 4. Depending on your own skill and team, or affixes, pull everything in 1 or 3 pulls. The trash is relatively easy to deal with. Once I realize the team is handling it quite well, I grab everything else. Most of the deadly moves from the mobs are spells on the ground and Templar AoE, easy to avoid. Pull 5. Get the skip before boss just in case something goes wrong. Set up your interrupt rotation, and I always tell the party I'll interrupt first. I quickly choose people for second and third interrupt and hope for the best. A quick note about all the Tide Sage enforcers. As I demonstrate by kiting, he is not able to cast his deadly AoE if he's in motion, so I just jump down, forcing him to do a long walk around for my team to kill it. Welcome to your second boss. During the Galecaller fight, you already have your interrupt rotation from before. My goal as the tank is to keep her moving to the most open areas for people to avoid the tornadoes and keeping the melee boss facing outward for his cleave the best I can. Meanwhile, she'll put a haste buff down. That will buff you, the bosses, and accelerate those tornadoes to move more quickly. Ironhole puts down a Nora for defense, which can be used by you and your team to remove any debuffs. This includes Necrotic on the tanks, Lust on the boss, and get your kill. Pull number 6. All trash is next. Keep assigned interrupt rotations going forward on the Deep Sea Ritualists. These pulls can be rough on the tank, as the enforcers do hit fairly hard in these pulls, and if a cast does get through, it will spike the party very hard. Use Arcane Torrent on the skeletons, or if you're the Alliance, just deal with it. All it's going to do right now is just add more necrotic sacks to the tank. You can cheese the Tide Sage enforcers if you kite fast enough, so that they don't cast. Repeat this with the following pull, and then clear the room of tentacles. Don't forget to take down the mini-boss before going to the next room like I did. This room isn't hard. Just toss an interrupt here and there and AoE down the room. Pull number 7. These 2 adds will spawn 2 giant tentacles that will smash the party if no one is in melee range. Stack them on top of each other, and as the tank, face them sideways so that they don't hit your party with their cone attack. Keep in mind, if this is a sanguine pool week, you need to either DPS the tentacles down first, or get creative and push the casters out from the tentacles so they don't drop pools on them. Pool number 8, take the boss across the bridge to the next boss room. Afterwards, clear out the benches of the tentacles. Now we're moving on to the next boss. This boss is very easy, and if for some reason people are not getting it, just reset the boss really fast. He will cast a simple bolt and periodically drop balls that will stun and do massive damage to anyone who touches them. As a tank, I pick one side of the room or the other, and once they're out, I go to the other room to allow room for the DPS to work around. This is also nice in case it's a quaking week. We will eventually mind control someone. They're to run into the balls to take damage, and at about 55% HP, they'll go back to normal. If they cleared all the balls, they stack on the boss to get cleaved. If for any reason they are still way too high on their HP, they can hop in the water behind where the boss was standing, dunk themselves under for a few seconds, and come back up. But they gotta be careful, and it will kill them very quickly. Poll number 9, assign interrupts for each of the 2 adds on either side. I usually mark one of them and tell them that I'm interrupting that one first, and then I pick someone in the party for the second. I then quickly assign whoever is left to be the first and second on the other. Always stop to assign. Don't trust the pug to figure it out. You will always save time typing out a strat rather than botching a failed pull. Now we're onto the boss. During this fight, periodically tentacles will spawn and do line attacks that need to be avoided. The healer will get a buff/debuff that will make their DPS huge, however at the cost of reduced max HP. So they have to be careful that a gust of wind just doesn't kill them. And in a pug, that's very likely. Dispel before a cast gets off during Sunken City to avoid death. I ask for lust to be held till after the Sunken City mechanic. During Sunken City, always assign interrupts again. They were used to the tank being first, but you can't during this phase. Assign the melee who's going to be first and second, and then the ranged or mobile melee to the one furthest away. Once you're back out, lust and burn the boss. Depending on the affixes, I tell the team to ignore ads and to just CC them while we kite. Don't let the ads get to the boss, it will speed up the next Sunken City. Sadly on this run it was a fail of the pug. We were not having the interrupts done correctly during the Sunken City and the healer was not dispelling his buff, and he kept dying. So pull number 10, after you've killed the boss, finish the rest of the worms, profit from the dungeon, hopefully you get some loot. If you stuck around for this entire thing, thanks for watching guys. You can find me doing key carries and other content at twitch.tv/jc.exe. See you guys there.